Hey guys, so let's make some cinnamon salt dough ornaments using this awesome cookie mold. You will find the exact recipe in the description below and credit where credit's due. Thank you, Cindy from DIY Beautify for this recipe. I did use all the water she suggested and the consistency turned out perfect for me. So go ahead and just measure out all your dry ingredients, and then I slowly added water to really mix it in, make sure that it was evenly mixed all the way throughout, and then I patted it out on a floured surface. Now, you will want to have extra flour around because you're going to be adding flour every time you handle the dough. This is salt dough, so I mean, if it's dried out, it doesn't matter. You're not eating it, obviously. So I really liked using extra flour to make sure it wasn't sticky and it was easy to handle. And by the time I got into it, it was really like a nice Play-Doh without any stick or too much wetness. And so I rolled it out just because I wanted a nice thin layer that I could grab, and I wanted to really get more flour over the dough. So to start, you're just gonna grab a chunk off and make sure you add some flour to your cookie mold. Now, I just kind of worked with it until I couldn't feel any more stick with the dough, and I shaped it in kind of that oval shape just to make it easier to press. Now, I'm not pressing too hard because I want to make sure it comes out okay, and it definitely did. If I wouldn't have added flour to the cookie mold, I definitely would have had problems. So make sure you use a sifter to get a nice even layer of flour. That will really help to avoid flour getting into some of those details in your cookie mold and then it not showing up in your dough. So I also used a skewer to create a hole in the top of the ornament, but it actually was a bit too small for the velvet ribbon that I used, so you could use a straw for that. Now, I ended up measuring this, I was curious how big my dough ball was, and it was about a quarter cup. Towards the end, I actually used a little bit less, and that created a really nice flat surface. So keep that in mind if you like to know those exact amounts. Now, the skewer was also helpful, like I said, in getting the bits of flour and extra dough out, but you could also use like a brush, a dish brush from the dollar store or something if you have some deep crevices in whatever mold you have. So here are my last three pieces. Like I said, they ended up being smaller than a quarter cup, but they fit perfectly in the mold, and so these ones were my favorite that turned out. And again, you can see I'm still adding flour just to get that feel of it not sticking. And I liked this amount because it really showed the scalloped edges nice and clean. They just were so easy to make, and I'm gonna use this mold to make some sugar cookies, maybe molasses. It's just such a pretty design, and there's so many out there, and you can find a link to my mold and a few others in the description below. So again, these are gonna take about 3 days to dry, and I flipped them back and forth just to make sure they are getting air, but didn't they turn out beautiful? So if you can, give me a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. Thanks.